Strictly Sport podcast. And yeah, I have my guys with me, Rotimi and Emily. Welcome, my niggas. What's the vibe?
Between grinding and sleep, I just dey here make I just see wetin dey go on, bro.
The hustle, bro.
Me, I'm
the
actually,
hustle.
I'm actually glad to be here. I can't wait to tear into the most skillful duo in NBA history being swept in the first round. That's what I'm just looking forward to on this podcast.
Yeah. Let's start with that. How do you feel about it? What before we proceed, yeah? I'm just curious, like when the Harden Simmons trade went through, like what was your expectations from net? And we had a whole episode about this, so you might want to pick your words carefully. Just me.
Yeah, so I'm not going to lie, I feel a bit humbled by the Boston Celtics because they shut me up, You just have to accept when you were wrong. I was really wrong about the Boston Celtics. I'm not even going to talk about how bad the Nets played, but the Boston Celtics were immense. Their defense, I think Marcus Smart deserved the Defensive Player of the Year, and Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown defended their asses off. So Al Horford was playing as if he was 23 again. So you have to give the props to them. But at the same time, when I made my statements, I was expecting Ben Simmons to come out. Everyone was expecting Ben Simmons to at least play game 3, game 4. He was supposed to, because he had overcome his back injury, but for some reason or the other, he didn't play in game 3, he didn't play in game 4. And another thing we have to look at is, I was expecting, Kyrie and Kyrie to just merge as soon as they get on the court. But I didn't look at the effect Kyrie playing full time is going to have on people like Seth Curry and the rest of the team. It's kind of, made Seth Curry start playing inconsistently. It had a bad influence on the team as a whole. They played terribly. Their best player in the series was Bruce Brown, and that tells you something. It was expected for the Boston Celtics to go after Kevin Durant, to time him, don't allow him bring the ball up the court, don't give him space to shoot because it was Kevin Durant. But I was expecting someone like Kyrie Irving to be able to, make quick decisions, give the ball to the open man, don't dribble too much, and, make wise decisions. But because he hadn't played a lot of games, he hadn't clocked a lot of minutes with the rest of the team, he didn't understand where they were on the court, how they were going to run, who was going to be open, who was going to be at the top of the key. And that was one of the things that hurt them. They hadn't played enough minutes together. They were not a team. And another problem is Durant is mostly to blame for this. When KD was at the Golden State, the main reason
as a captain, I was taking him away. Slim Reaper has 7
yeah, that's what I was getting to. Yeah, so yes, I'm not going to argue that, right? Because when the main reason Kevin Durant left Golden State Warriors was that he said that he didn't like their motion offense. I think he was on a podcast or whatever, but he was quoted saying he didn't like the motion offense where Curry, Clay, Draymond Green, Kevin Durant himself, where they move across and try to create shots for themselves. He wanted to play more of one-on-one. He believed the hype that he was the best one-on-one player to have ever played in the NBA. So he felt he needed more one-on-ones. Give me the ball and I'll create my shots. And that was one of the things that hurts them now. He kept on, every time he got the ball, he believed, he could just rise up and get the shots to fall in. And he was terrible.
With his structure, his height advantage. It's very difficult for you to guard KD on a one-on-one.
Emily, yeah, thank you. You're just saying what I wanted to say.
I think it's time to accept the fact that KD may have been overrated for the very start. Because, you were calling people, you were saying they did not click, you were even blaming Curry, that Curry did not play well and all that. See, if you watch those guys, you have to understand that at a point you're expecting them to start putting real numbers. You said generally that Antetokounmpo had one lucky shot to tie the game, and we wanted
Game
to cut
winner,
to
yeah.
head. We wanted to cut to head that how do you have 7 turnovers? 7. At what point do you start going straight to the ring than you trying to play ISO game? You get you to an extent you blame Kyrie because the guy likes drama, he likes saying rubbish. I don't even like it. But KD, the Flame Reaper, the Harvester, they play rubbish. Their fishnet saying they
Can I speak?
I beg.
So Rotimi, you could not be more wrong. You could not be more wrong. And then Emile, you were like going on the right track, but then when you started talking about KD, you went off. Like everything you people said, Celtics are an extremely good team, especially defensively. They are extremely good. They have at almost at every point in a game, they have like 4 really good defenders on the court. Like they're starting 5. Out of their starting 5, you have Brown, you have Tatum, you have Smart. Your 3 best players are crazy defenders, are people that will put their body on the line every single possession. They do not lose concentration. They have a really good coach. They had a plan, and then they have quality. So can you see that the combination of all those things, there was no way that Nets really stood a chance. Now the only way Nets stood a chance, we have to realize, if we put it in perspective, let's zoom out. The 4 games, none of the games ended with more than a 7-point difference. None. Do you understand? So all the games were close. Now, one thing, KD was terrible in this series, except the final game. KD was terrible. I could have understood first game, they threw everything at him. He was maybe shocked, like, oh, wow. And these guys are so good. They are so good. The rest of the Nets team are obviously not as good. I disagree with you, Rotimi. Kyrie was a better player for the Nets in this series than KD. Like, you have to realize that. Kyrie was perfect. Kyrie facilitated. Kyrie did everything he had to do. Like, at every point in the game, he did what he had to do. Sometimes he missed shots, he missed shots, but like, he always did the right thing. Kyrie was really good. Even the chemistry, he played well with Claxton, he played well with Drummond when Drummond played. Like, he played well with KD, he played well with everybody. Even when Dragic came into the final game of the series, he played very well with Dragic. Like, the chemistry was really so good. So I disagree with you on that. What I'm just going to say is, defensively, Celtics just do not have enough. And then where the brilliance of KD and Kyrie is supposed to lift them above Celtics, or at least get them to a game 7. That's what the brilliance of KD and Kyrie should have done. But KD was terrible. Do you understand? KD was terrible.
So you said I think initially when I started, I accepted my fault and I gave props to Celtics. So I think you may have missed that. I accepted that Celtics were exceptional.
I heard. That's why I said you started with that, but then you started saying KD this, KD that.
The thing is,
KD is one of the best players that ever played the game. For Emile that was saying KD is might have been a fraud. If out of every 10 NBA players, if you ask out of every maybe 10 NBA players, if you ask like 10 of them who has been the best player in the last like 10-20 years, or the top 2, KD will be in everybody's top 2, or at least 9 people's top 2. Like, KD has been the best player since his OKC days.
If you ask Nigerian artists, they should name their top 5 rappers, they put Orlando inside. Look, what I'm saying is very simple. I think the tragedy that KD took, I don't know how to explain it. He from moving from where he came from, went to Golden State.
From OKC to Golden State.
You see that team of that Golden State. So much expectation was on that team. even when they started breaking up, you get it to a point that people are still confused whether KD is the person is the person that will deliver Curry his next ring, or Curry is the one that will deliver KD his next ring. Do you get the comparison is that close that a lot of people cannot say that Curry had a better influence on the Golden State team than KD. This kind of a comparison is what is still going on now in Nets. I'm not saying that he's not good, but I think what is killing a lot of people, when Harden went to Nets, I was like, it's all over for these guys. I was screaming on top of my voice. It's all over. Nobody can stop them. But when they flopped, I realized the mistake that you people are still making now. That you're putting so much expectation on KD based on he's still coming off his Golden State honeymoon phase. And you people will learn.
No, see, the thing is, Emily, you are not wrong.
He has the ability to put his team on.
No,
if you're the best player in the world, everybody put expectation on you. When Kyrie that year, Kawhi, yeah, at Toronto Raptors, everybody put expectation on Kawhi. Nobody wanted to know anything. He was the best. People were saying he was up there with LeBron as like a top 2 in the world. Everybody put their expectations on him. People put their expectations on Embiid. Like what happened all the playoff season, Embiid was eliminated. Even after that Kawhi shot, like people put you're one of the best players in the world. So when it gets down to it, you have to be able to put your team on your back, carry your team, and get the job done. That's why we didn't even have like Kyrie. Look at the numbers Kyrie dropped in this series, and I'm not bashing him because KD is the best player there. So it's something he should do. If he doesn't do it, he knows. After game 3, he said it, like he fully accepted that he has not been good enough. And I think that was why in game 4 he had his best game of the series. Like, do you get? It's not just about defending. No matter how good they defend, you can't defend KD. KD is just going to rise above you and shoot, whether it's a 3 or a 2. You cannot defend KD, literally. Like, we watched series against Cavs where KD would just pull up. In the fourth quarter, KD would just pull up. 3 or 4 possessions at the stretch and score 3s. Game is over. Like, that's him. So, I don't know, Sha, but it was a really interesting series, even though it was a sweep, but it was really interesting. So, I think we should move on.
Yeah, no, before we move on, right, I feel that you people are looking at it from... I understand that KD screwed up. It was a very awful performance. I think this is probably his worst series in his career, and he's had some terrible series at OKC. But if you look at it, right, he was always going to be the best player on the net. He was always going to be smart with defense. It happens in the playoffs. There's one thing they say, Stephen A says it, almost every basketball analyst says it. They say in the playoffs, they take away your first and second option at scoring. It's what people do. So you have to rely on your third, your fourth, your fifth options. That's how you get baskets towards the end of the game. Kevin Durant was taken out of the game from the minute he stepped onto the court. He was not supposed to average more than 26-27 points this series, especially against a really good defensive team. And he averaged 26.3 points. He still led his team in assists, 6.3. It's not great. Don't get me wrong, it's not great. But when you have a co-star that is almost as good and is supposed to be one of the top 15 players in this league, you expect that co-star is supposed to be able to take the slack. When
what you mean
the Lakers
15? What you mean
when the
15?
Lakers,
like at the very worst, you have to put Kyrie in top 10. What you mean top 15?
No, I'll get to it. There's a reason why I said top 15. If you look at the Lakers, right, when they won the championship, when we played the Miami Heat, we played, Miami Heat at Miami Heat. They were insanely good. But LeBron, there were sometimes LeBron could not have the ball in his hands, and you expected Anthony Davis to take some of the slack. That's how you get past defensive players.
Really
but Kyrie didn't do that. He didn't do any of that. Kyrie still balled, but he was supposed to average 30-31 points. His efficiency was 23.5. His basketball efficiency. If you compare that to someone like Luka Doncic, who was the main man on his team, Luka Doncic's efficiency was, I think, 31. Do you see how much of a gap there was? So he wasn't efficient with the ball. His choices were not right, and he averaged 2 low assists. How can you average 5.3 assists as the main playmaker, the main point guard of the Brooklyn Nets?
Okay.
It's not going to work.
When it comes to assist, you do understand that it's your effort ends when you give the ball to the person that is supposed to make the basket. You understand?
Yeah, but he wasn't creating shots. Assuming he was creating shots, like if you look at LeBron at the Cleveland Cavaliers, his efficiency was always high because he'd create shots, you understand? But if they don't put it down well, whatever, they didn't put it down. But it's always going to be there in the stats that he was dangerous.
Okay,
He created shots. But
Kyrie
Kyrie wasn't doing that.
You guys said that, okay, I'll just list like some points that I think I understand that is being counteract each of what you said. You said Celtics happen to be one of the teams with one of the best defense this playoff. Yeah, so you are expecting that would have an effect on their opponent. Let the case them on point, Kyrie Irving. You're expecting him to not have a very good game as he used to. Now, the second question I want to ask is, out of everyone that's made it to the next round, because from what I'm understanding, you guys are saying it like they got the worst possible opponent that they could have been drawn against. So out of everyone that's made it to the next round, do you think Nets would have won any of them that's made it to the next round? Let's say Nets Golden State.
In a series, I don't think the Nets, given the way the Nets played against Boston, I don't think it was possible for them to have beaten Heat, Philadelphia, or Milwaukee.
Exactly.
They'd have lost. They probably have been swept by every single team.
Things are
Exactly.
different.
What I'm
Listen,
saying
you can't
is-
say that.
what
Things are
I'm saying is,
different.
when it's 5-on-5, right? Basketball is 5-on-5.
Yeah.
The moment Kevin Durant is double teamed, right, and he kicks the ball to Kyrie Irving, we've seen it with. Let's not even go too far. We see it with Golden State every year on year. I bash Curry, but it does happen every time Curry steps past the halfway line. He's double teamed towards the end of the game in the playoffs. But when he kicks it to Draymond, and Draymond finds the open shooter. Draymond is a playmaker. That's what you'd have expected from Kyrie.
Okay, so
The moment
so
Kevin
let's
Durant
say-
has two
let's
people
say
on
they-
him,
they
someone is
double
going
mark-
to be open. That's how.
Let's say they double mark Kevin Durant. He kicks the ball to the playmaker, which is Kyrie. Kyrie decides to give a simple open pass to someone that will make the basket. The guy doesn't make it. You see where it doesn't count as an assist. Look,
Yeah, but
I watched songs and I saw what Chris Paul was doing. They'll double mark him. Sometimes the person that creates a screen for him is the person he passes to. Now, what this person does, what most of what they were doing was they'll give you the ball, then you go straight to the basket. You already have one person less. But that wasn't what Nets were doing. Curry was trying to play like his brother. They'll give him the ball. He wants to shoot threes. How many times did Slim Reaper go straight to the basket? You get, like, they had a game plan that they did not realize that wasn't working, and they were not smart enough to switch it. Kyrie is somebody that
yes, and that is the problem. The problem, right? The problem with the game plan is not from the players. I mean, it's not from the coaches. Don't get me wrong. The coach had nothing. Nash had nothing to do with Brooklyn coaching. I think towards the beginning of the season, Aka, if you do remember, when they asked, no, it wasn't this season, it was last season, when they asked Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant on the podcast, they asked them about their coaching. Kyrie's answer was, "We don't need a coach. I can be the coach. Kevin Durant can be the coach." So when they step on the court, it's obvious that the game plan they effect is not Nash's game plan. It's what they decide. Nash is like,
Why
if you
why
go
you
ahead or
saying
whatever.
that? Why you saying that? Now we are just speculating. They are professionals.
That's what
Listen.
Kyrie said. That's
They
what Kyrie
are
said.
professionals. There are people say stuff, but they are professionals. Do you think anybody would listen to Kyrie if he wants to coach, if he wants to draw up a play? Like, these guys are professionals. Kevin Durant is a professional. Obviously, they would have some input on the sort of offense they play. Obviously, but you can't say they won't listen to the coach. Like, that's why he's the manager. He's the one who ends up getting fired. So Nash is not good enough. Simple. Like, Nash should have switched stuff up. Like, they were on KD and Kyrie, like, from the first game to the last game. This guy could never find a way around it. Even in the last game, even in the fourth quarter of the last game, he was still making. He was just searching, reaching, making. Later, like, I think in game 3, like, Griffin came on and Griffin did so well. Griffin started game 4. Did so well. In the fourth quarter, when things got so hard, he put Griffin again. Bro, like, this guy was just searching. He never knew what to do in this game, like, throughout the series. So as much as we put blame, like, let's realize that number 1, Steve Nash was crap. Number 2, this is probably the best defense in the league, arguably. But there's no way you won't put them in the top 3 or top 2 defense in the league since after the All-Star break. So, like, let's put things into perspective.
To be honest, the finals I want to see, at bias aside, would be the Dallas Mavericks versus the Celtics, purely based on defense, because they play the same kind of defense. You know, the word has skipped my mind, but they kind of rush the ball handler, giving him very little time to make a decision. That's how they even got the ball out of Kevin Durant's hand 90% of the time, and they forced turnovers and things like that.
Yeah, but Celtics are way better. Way better defensive team than
not even the
defense. I would love to see that game. I would love to see it.
Can hold down next, regardless of what we want to say about their point guards and their forwards. If a team can hold down next, I'll score them. I don't think Maverick will stand a chance. We are talking about Jokic that, okay, I don't know anyone who is big enough to stop him, but he cannot beat alone. Even if he decides to drop 40 points, the rest of his teammates will probably get pegged. He can literally not beat alone. For how many games?
Yeah, but the thing is, if you looked at Aka, did you follow the Utah Jazz Dallas Mavericks series? If you look at that series, right, the Jazz, they have offensive weapons. They have Donovan Mitchell, who is averaging, I think, top 4 in playoff points per game in history. He's a massive offensive force. They have Mike Conley. They have former 6th man of the year, Jordan Clarkson. They have players. They have ballers. They have Rudy Gobert. So it was a really interesting series. But one thing that won the series for the Dallas Mavericks was defense. There were quarters where they would hold Utah Jazz to 16 points, 19 points, 15 points. This is a basketball game. In 12 minutes, to holding a team to 16 points is a massive feat. You have to know what you're doing. And they have one of the best coaches in the game in Jason Kidd. This guy was the main reason why the Lakers won the championship, for Christ's sake. He's really, really good at coaching. He knows what he's doing. So the Dallas Mavericks are not you won't call out one player and say, okay, he's really good at defense. But in team defense, right, they are really good at identifying who to get the ball out of his hands. I think in the last 6 minutes and 11 seconds of this game 6 against the Utah Jazz, Donovan Mitchell did not attempt a single shot. So the best player on the Utah Jazz did not attempt a single shot in the last 6 minutes of that game. That's to tell you, as in how much focus they had to do to get the ball out of his hands to make him less effective. So you should try not to underestimate the Dallas Mavericks. They are really, really good as a team, and they are one to look out for. I would really love to watch that matchup. We might end up watching a game with nobody scoring 100 points, but it will be interesting to watch.
It should be a low scoring side because what I'm looking at what for each player. You get. We spoke about Celtics, that you have about 3 or 4 people that can. You don't really have which word I want to use for him. You don't really have a Kyrie stroke KD player in this. You have 3 or 4 people that they can easily switch. But when it comes to Maverick, you know, if Jokic is not starting, it's almost like 40% of their strength is gone. This where I'm looking at it from. I'm
Yeah,
looking
but
at it from how you
yeah,
Emile,
get to peg the
against the
main
Utah
guy.
Jazz, right? They
Yes.
won 2 games without Doncic. Doncic didn't play up until game 4, right? And it was 2-1. The Dallas Mavericks were 2-1 up against the Jazz without Doncic. They have a certain man in Jalen Brunson. I mentioned him a few podcasts ago. That was immense. I think he scored the second most points in the playoff series, below Doncic. So Brunson has shown himself to be able to take the slack without Doncic. And they also have Spencer Dinwiddie that was with the Nets last year. He's also come in as a ball handler. So now they have 3 proficient ball handlers, and they also have shooting. They have spacing and shooting. They have Durant Finney-Smith. They have Reggie Bullock. They have people that can shoot. They have Maxi Kleber, probably the best shooting big man in the league. So it's one of those things where you look at and you are like, this team is it reminds me of I think LeBron's Cavaliers, and it also reminds me of, in a way, of Harden's Rockets, because they have shooting, they have dominant ball handlers, okay, but they also make wise decisions, and they have a really good coach that can draw plans. So I don't think the effect will be that much. If you take Doncic out of the game, for instance, they still have Dinwiddie and Brunson on the court to handle the ball. It won't be as great as having Doncic on, but at the same time, they'll still be able to score points. And if the team they are playing is not careful, they will beat them out of the water before it's even up to 4 or 5 games.
so who do you think will come out of the East?
He already told him
The East.
Yeah.
East. Who do you think will come out of the East?
Oh, the East. Philadelphia or Milwaukee. It's difficult to say. If Philadelphia beats Miami, yeah, and Celtic beats Milwaukee, then it's definitely Philadelphia. But if Milwaukee and Philadelphia meet, then it has to be Milwaukee. There's a reason. I'm not saying Celtic can't beat Milwaukee, because I know you're about to attack me on that, but it's Milwaukee and it's Giannis Antetokounmpo. It's going to be really difficult for them to stop that moving freight train. It's like stopping LeBron at the peak of his powers. It's almost impossible. It's possible, but the chances are really low.
If
So
anything
it's
can do
Milwaukee
it,
or
Celtics.
Philadelphia.
If
Yeah,
anything
yes,
can
I agree.
do it, it's the Celtics. Now, second thing, I didn't hear you mention Miami.
Yeah. I've watched James Harden this past couple of games, and he hasn't exactly been up to James Harden of Houston Rockets or even James Harden of the Nets, but they have shown that even a half James Harden and a fully fit Embiid is a dangerous force. So playing the Miami Heat, it might be close, and I might be wrong again, but I don't see the Miami Heat beating them over 7 games. It might go up to game 7, but I don't see them beating. It's just too much.
Bro,
Joel
Miami
Embiid and
can beat
James Harden
them.
is just too
Miami
much.
can beat them in 6. Like, as much as Sixers can also beat them in 6. Like, it's a series that anybody can win. Miami has so much quality, and so we talked about Celtics defense. Miami have dogs, like dogs.
They have Bam
in their defense.
Adebayo.
They have
have my man
They
Jimmy
have
B.
PJ Tucker. They have Jimmy Butler. Like, they have Kyle Lowry. These are crazy defenders. Highest.
They
level.
also have someone that I made fun of before the year began, and I want to apologize to him personally if you ever listen to this.
Who?
Tyler Hero. Before the season
Yeah,
started,
you were
he
so
said
disrespectful.
he said he was supposed to be in the conversation with Trae Young and Luka Doncic. While Luka Doncic is still, a universe away, he might be, given his play this year, he might be creeping up to Trae Young. Although Trae Young led the league in points and assists, so I think that's still a branch too far for Tyler Hero. But he has played really well this season, and he's going to hurt Philadelphia big time, because when he comes off the bench, he's going to be immense. He's going to score threes. He's very good at threes. I think he's in the upper 35% when it comes to threes, and he also scored a hell ton of points from the free throw line. So he's played really well, and I expect him to be very, very good against Philadelphia. If they have any chance of winning, it's through Tyler Hero.
Emile, who do you expect to come out of the West?
I me, I don't,
So there's
I don't care about
Phoenix, Phoenix, Dallas, Golden State, and Memphis. Memphis will probably beat Minnesota. So
Or
it will be
Minnesota.
Phoenix, Dallas, Golden State, or Memphis at Minnesota. So probably Memphis.
Wait. You think all these people you called will meet Golden State in a normal game? They won't even get to game 6. They'll meet Golden State and they'll survive.
No.
It's what this old guy is doing from off the bench.
Yeah. So
Bro,
that's
all
the
those
team,
teams,
right?
all those teams will beat Golden State. All of them.
Exactly.
Memphis will beat Golden State. And it's only like 6 games, maybe 7 games. Memphis will beat
You
Golden
don't
State.
understand that
The closest.
Dallas could. I think Dallas.
Is the closest. Dallas
doesn't
would be
matter.
the closest.
It doesn't matter. They were in a close matchup. Like them and Minnesota, it was a close matchup. But everybody knew Memphis would end up winning, most likely. Let me not say most likely. They were most likely going
Golden
to.
State.
They would beat Golden State.
Yeah, that's who they play now in the semifinals. That's who it's Suns, Dallas, Memphis, Golden State. Most likely, if Memphis are able to win tonight, they'll play Golden State. So, do you actually believe Golden State are really good? Don't get me wrong; they've even outperformed. Jordan Poole has been immense.
Yeah, and Clay
the
is
open
back.
court.
So let's not rule out Golden State. To be honest, like in a playoff series, like Draymond
in the open
Curry
court. In the open court, you know how Memphis like to play in the open court on the turnover, hustle. They would like to rush the game, create so many possessions, let the game end maybe 140, 120. But at the end of the day, they don't want to give Golden State time to rest. They don't want to give Golden State time to catch their breath and start shooting threes. So I feel that this is the worst possible opponent for Golden State because of just how Memphis play. They play fast. Intense basketball.
Putting into consideration, the external factor? Are you putting into consideration the effect of this game that you are playing? You're playing the game of every 2 days. Yeah, every 2 days. You are playing a pacey game, pacey, energetic game. You've just played this to escape your own playoffs. Then you're going to meet Golden State and you expect them to keep the same intensity. They are not going to break down.
Yeah, because they are very deep. Let's not forget that they won a load of games without Ja Morant this regular season, when Ja was out injured. They won a couple of games without Jaren Jackson Jr. as well. So they are very deep. They're a deep team. They are almost as deep as the Suns. Even if you talk about rotation, they are really deep.
Our notice that Ja does not have the same effect on his team as Jokic had. So when you are calling Ja as if Ja is the deciding factor, I'm not going to allow that in this slide.
Yeah, so I'm not saying Ja is the deciding factor against Golden State, right? But the fact that they can pull out a man like Ja and still win a couple of games in regular season has to show that they are a really good team overall, and they should be able to rotate enough in the postseason. Now the problem is when you go into a 7-game series against Draymond Green. I'm not even going to say Steph Curry, Jordan Poole, or Klay Thompson. Against Draymond Green, it's going to be difficult because he knows exactly what to do. I think we all remember what he did to LeBron a couple of years ago. He knows exactly how to get into your head, and this Memphis team are a really young team. So all he has to do is get their players in foul trouble. Jaren Jackson Jr., the other, what's his name? The other big that Memphis have. All he has to do is get into their head, get them in foul trouble, and all of a sudden, Memphis have to play small. And when you play small against Golden State, you are in trouble. Because you might shoot 2s, but they'll shoot 3s, and they are really good at shooting 3s. So, that might be the only way where Golden State win. If Draymond Green is Draymond Green.
Yeah, and I think that's why I said in a playoff. That's why I said in a playoff series, like Draymond would almost always perform. So, like, I can't rule out Golden State. It's going to be a tough series, and it's going to be a very entertaining series. So, what would your ideal matchup be like Rotimi, and then who do you expect to win that matchup? That's like finals, NBA finals. What matchup would you talk about? Would you want, or what matchup do you think will happen, and who do you expect would come out on top?
Okay, so bias. Okay, no. Before I say bias, aside,
I don't want to know. Just bias. Give me an opinion. If you like be biased or not, just give me an opinion. I don't want two opinions. So that when you cast, I'll come and hold you. I don't even want to know.
In the finals, right? I believe that coming out from the West, is either going to be the Phoenix Suns or the Golden State Warriors. It's not one of the two. If the Golden State Warriors meet the Phoenix Suns in the conference finals, I put my money on Golden State Warriors. It might be mad, you might say, but there's just something about having championship mentality, and there's something about Chris Paul choking that just they go together really well. And I'll put my money on Steph Curry any day, anytime. But if Curry doesn't get past Memphis Grizzlies, then it's a different ball game. The Suns would beat the Grizzlies any day, anytime. It has to do with quality and depth. Devin Booker, Chris Paul is just too much. Like they have the quality to get points every possession. It's hard to say that by any team in history. To be able to go off the court and know that it's almost impossible to stop these guys from getting points. I think Chris Paul created a playoff record last night. 14 field goals attempted, 14 field goals made. It's insane. But on the East, it's a different ball game. On the East now, it's hard to tell because it's just about individual performances. If Milwaukee end up playing Philadelphia, it will end up being a Giannis Embiid affair, and by then we are hoping and praying that Middleton comes back, which is highly unlikely. But if he does come back for that game, then he might be, the slash of greatness that they need, because I believe Jrue Holiday should be able to hold James Harden, at least the James Harden of now anyway. So it's all down to that. I'm not ruling out the Celtics. I'll say it again. I'm not ruling out the Celtics, but it's hard for me to look beyond the best player on the planet, Giannis Antetokounmpo. It's really hard. It's like looking beyond LeBron. It's really difficult to look past him because he's so good and he's so dominant that even if your defense is good enough to hold the rest of the team, it's going to be hard to hold him. He's added threes to his portfolio, and he's able to shoot free throws consistently. They also have Bobby Portis, another big that can shoot threes. So it's difficult for any team to hold them, and so I believe it to be Milwaukee and Golden State.
So they okay, you are finalized, because I thought you asked a question and you're not giving us an answer. You just say if this one happens, this other one will happen. And a very serious person. You said something about championship mentality. Look, I don't think anybody can stop. Just forget it. Maybe next year we'll start saying something else. Bucks, they need to break to sing another song about my guys. Simple and short.
Drake, you have to have seen Drake on the final game when they kicked out Toronto. He was so sad.
What do you expect?
It was unbelievably sad. But Aka, I would like to hear who you think are going to make the finals and why.
Yeah, I don't sleep.
I think we've lost Aka for you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
okay, we can hear you.
So like I said that first you didn't give me a winner, but like the finalists you gave me, it's fine. So mine, I'm just going to like go straight up and I'll tell you, I expect a repeat of last year's finals, and I expect, I don't know, anybody could win. Do you understand? But if I had to pick a winner, I would go with Bucks. But I won't go with Bucks. I think I'll go with Suns, because Middleton, like, look, I think it's time people start to realize that Bucks' second best player is not Middleton, it's Holiday. Like, Middleton is never consistent, never. Zero. His consistency is the worst. I don't even know why he's regarded as an all-star. Bro, that guy is so inconsistent. He's consistent at being inconsistent. So I don't know. And Chris Paul and Book, like they've gotten that experience, like being in that situation last year, coming back to that situation, it would be different. Like, and Chris Paul is crazy. Like Booker, like they both have crazy quality. Like look at what Chris Paul did yesterday or day before yesterday, and then Book. If Book has to drop 50, he'll drop it. If he has to drop 50 in every game of the finals, he'll drop it. Like he's a scorer. He's a born scorer. So I don't know. It would be really tough. Really tough. And Bucks have so many pieces. Like they have so many pieces that do not even start, that they could throw on at different points that would control the game and that would have an impact on the game. They have so many pieces. They have good coaching. Both teams have good coaching. But 18 is better. He's more experienced. Book, CP3. Like, I don't know. It would be a tough finals, but that's what I think. I think they have the quality on both sides. I think the only person that could maybe stop Bucks is the Heat, and I think the only team I don't see any team being able to stop the Suns. I think the Suns will have the easiest ride. I think Mavs would be the toughest task, but whoever they meet in conference finals, in the Western Conference Finals, I don't think it will get to a game 6 or game 7. Be it Golden State or Memphis, I don't see it getting to a game 7. Yeah, so it will be, that's my prediction, and I'm like 70% sure this is going to happen. What I just don't know is who's going to win, but I'm just going to go with Suns for a winner. But like I'm 70% sure that, well, let's see how it goes. I would love to see the matchups. I would love to see how 18 matches up to Giannis again, if he's still going to get destroyed or if he's going to produce some form of resistance. Let's see how it goes. Emile,
I
your
already gave my
finalist and
I
your
already
winner.
gave my pick now. I said that Drake will rap about Bucks again.
Oh yeah, you said so.
Yeah.
You said so.
Yeah.
Said
So this might be, we are going to end it this way, but this might be something I might need to take away in the future, because John and Raymond are not going to let me leave it down, as well as Chemical.
Okay.
But this might be the year that Steph Curry wins it again. It's, it's hard to see it now, but when they get past the Suns, if they eventually meet the Suns, then we are going to have to start taking them serious. And they are the only team that might be able to beat the Bucks, simply because of Draymond and Curry, but majorly because of Draymond. So it's those are my dark horses, and those are the people I believe if they get to the finals, they win.
They are not a good enough
Maybe.
team. Those three players,
Maybe.
Draymond, Curry, Thompson, and then Poole have stepped up, but the rest of their team is just not good enough. The players coming off their bench are not good enough. And on these playoff teams, everybody in your squad, everybody in your rotation is very important when you get deep into the playoffs. So you get exactly what you said, that Memphis, their rotation is deep and their rotation has more quality. So Golden State's rotation, like it's old Iguodala, Looney, bro, their rotation is not good enough. Wiggins is not consistent enough.
I
you
agree.
don't know what you're getting from Wiggins.
I agree.
That's why I really do not think they stand a chance against Suns. Suns will punish them with their weaknesses. Suns would use their weaknesses and punish them. You get Suns would be ruthless.
I agree, right, that the Golden State are not deep, right? But if there's any competition that allows you to play high minutes, it's the playoffs, because it's all or nothing. So they might have to play Curry, Clay, Draymond might have to play 40 plus minutes every night when they play a really good team. But at the same time, you are overlooking the smarts of Draymond Green. There's something Chris Paul does every single playoff series, and he gets away with it. He's a very dirty player. I don't know if I've said it before, but it's not necessarily a bad thing against him, because it helps winning. That dirty players everywhere helps him winning. But if there's any team and any player that would be able to outsmart him in the dirty play, is Draymond Green. because Draymond is a master of it as well. So it's one of those things you need to look out for. He might be able to change the one cause of Draymond getting suspended in a game is what made LeBron win. That's the single championship for Cavs. So one cause of the game, one bad mistake, one referee decision, one flagrant foul could be all that separates the Golden State from the Phoenix Suns. So don't overlook them, seriously. I'm just saying it.
Well,
it's fine.
It's okay that we all have our choices, so we won't be to cook. Not when we start bringing onions, we now start hearing stories. I say both. You say Golden State. I can't say.
No. Golden State are my dark horses. Let me just see. Let me lay this out. This is the last thing we are saying, right? I'm a big fan of Luka Doncic. We all know I want Luka Doncic to win. I don't see it as feasible, but I want him to win. And most likely, I'm just jumping from frying pan to fire. Is the box. I'm going to lay my banter on the box. So I know that even if we are going to lose, the banter will not be too much because we definitely get somewhere far. Unlike placing my hands on the Golden State and they go and lose to Memphis. So please. Yeah, so I think, does anyone have any other thing to add before we end this show?
I think
okay. So
it's almost 50 minutes.
Yeah, I think we've passed our time.
It was nice. It was a really nice episode. Yeah, I had fun chatting with you guys.
Yeah, same here. But let the best man be cooked, I guess, in a couple of weeks' time.
Let the best man be cooked in June. Yeah.
But you realize that if Suns go out to Dallas, you might disappear for a couple of weeks. Just disappear.
I'm not going to disappear because, I'm not going to disappear. Anybody can win, bro. But Suns are my favorite. But Dallas are good enough to win. Don't like everybody at this stage is good enough to win. But we are just saying the favorites, normally how things should go. I don't know, Sha. So I just give you guys my opinion. May the best man be cooked.
Don't do anything. We're just saying that let's not forget what we are saying when cooking starts.
Yes. Of course. Okay.
All right.
Thanks, everyone.
Let's continue.
Yeah, and
yeah.
So I believe next week we should have another play to win, right? I guess, and you guys look out for the next episode. Chance to win some big bucks.
Yeah, we are out.
Yeah.